This is Miss Lizzie, and I want to welcome you to the Queen Lizzie podcast. Together, we will go through the history of Rosewood, Florida, and watch as the once prosperous town rises out of the bloodshed, fire, and ash to reveal the people, the memory, and the legacy of Rosewood. Watch every Thursday on Facebook and YouTube, or listen to our story on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Hello, everybody. I am Lizzie Robinson Jenkins, representing not only the Rosewood Foundation, but the personal testimonies and history of cherished friends and family. You are now watching the Queen Lizzie podcast. Today, we are talking with Miss Kestral Ward. Good afternoon, and welcome to the Queen Lizzie podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
And I'm very excited. We met a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago.
And started talking about Rosewood.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned so much from you. And you are ready to learn a lot from me.
I am so ready to learn because, I went to school about 2 hours from Rosewood. And we never learned about it in school.
Really?
We never, it wasn't so much as mentioned. I didn't find out about Rosewood until I was well into adulthood. And even then, I still don't know very much about it.
Okay.
Just the research I've been doing
Yes.
for this project, really.
Okay. Well, this is a beginning.
This is the beginning.
Yes, and you are going to bring your group. I want you to tell us about your group at the University of Florida.
So I am representing Free UF, which is a organizing group. It's a loose coalition of faculty, staff, students, and community members around Gainesville who are concerned with academic freedom at UF. And we started organizing a couple years ago in response to the state legislative attacks on academic freedom.
Yes.
That were really focused on UF, but people have kind of taken the Free UF concept at other schools and have started organizing around other schools around the state as well. And we don't really have like officers or anything like that. We just
Have a vision.
We have a vision, and we're supported by the unions,
Yes.
UFF and UCWUF and GAUUF, all three support us and help us with organizing and financial support and things like that. And in fact, UFF-UF, which is the faculty union, and UCWUF, which is the staff union, are both sponsors for the event at Rosewood this week.
Appreciate that. I appreciate that. And you are in good hands. And when I say you are in good hands, I am so excited because you all are going to be beneficial to my organization, and you're going to be like a leg or trailblazers to help us get from point A to point B.
I hope so.
Oh, I'm looking forward.
Yes.
I'm looking forward. When is your, on the 10th, right?
Yes.
You're coming out to Rosewood.
We're coming out June 10th at 11 a.m.
Yes.
To the Rosewood Historical Marker. We're going to have you speak and read your book,
Yes.
of course. We're also going to do read a couple of other banned children's books.
Yes.
We have That Flag, which just came out in January, I think, and is a book about the Confederate flag.
Okay.
And from the perspective of a little black girl and learning about
Yes.
its kind of impact on her family. And
Yes.
and then the other one is called Unspeakable.
Yes.
And it is about the Tulsa race riot.
Oh, perfect.
And because we want to kind of, Rosewood didn't happen in a vacuum. It wasn't like this was a one-off kind of a thing.
Of course not.
So we want to kind of tie it in to the whole national conversation.
Right, and also to the Florida massacres.
Yes.
Like Ocoee, there was a massacre there, and a smaller one in Perry. And my mom used to tell me about Rosewood because her sister was the teacher there, and she would always tell me when we talk about massacres, she said, baby, Rosewood, there are more than one Rosewood, she said. There are many Rosewood with different names.
Mm.
Ocoee, a different name. Tulsa, a different name, different place, different time. But they are all massacres. And when you talked about bringing a couple of books that have been banned, this little book is just being put out. It's going to, I'm going to do my first book signing with this little book on June 24th at the Matheson Center, and I would love for you and your group, as many of you, to come, because what we're trying to do is get this book in the hand of each child. Mm-hmm. When I was growing up, the books that I read had all white pictures. I never saw a picture of a black girl. I don't know why I turned to that one, but this was my friend. She helped me through segregation,
Yeah.
okay, civil rights. She was there for me as as my 5th grade student, and I'm going to read it. When I read it in Rosewood, I'll tell you all who this special person is.
Yes,
okay,
tell us all about her.
Well, yes, I started to say who she is, but I will wait till then, and I'm going to read it Tuesday night also, not Tuesday night, on the 24th at the book signing. But I just want to show you that kids of color did not belong in books I read.
Yeah.
All white kids. And this is going to be different and exciting. And as you were just saying a minute ago when I showed it to you, you said this is what they need, something small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something they can hold in their hands.
Right.
So I work at the libraries at the University of Florida.
Okay.
And we have a grant project that I'm part of that is trying to make it easier for kids, parents, and teachers
Yes.
to find books, multicultural books. So books with black children, books with Indian children, books with Native American children,
Yes.
all these kinds of things. And as part of that, I was ordering books for the university's children's book collection, because we have a children's book collection.
Yes.
And it's hard to find them sometimes. There's more around now than there used to be, but it's still a tiny percentage of the books.
It's not enough. And hopefully we together as groups and unions will increase the interest and more people will start to write interracial books. We need it because we're all different, but we're all the same.
Yes.
History is who we are.
Well, and I always think about, I have a son who's 11, and he's obviously a little white boy, but I always think about, what kind of world am I showing him if I only show him books with white students,
Exactly.
and white kids, and they, white kids need to see
The other side.
the other side too. They need
Exactly.
to see those stories
Yes.
played out, and so that when they actually meet people, especially kids who might be in places that are still very segregated,
Yes.
and may not know a whole lot of black students or students of color
Right.
who are going to school with them, they need to have that opportunity to encounter them so that when they get into the wider world,
Right.
they have an understanding of, and then of course everybody always talks about it's really important for Black kids and kids of color to see themselves
Exactly.
in there's all kinds of statistics about how much it improves mental health and self-esteem and everything else to see themselves in
A
books.
part, yeah, yes, a part of. I know when in this little book I talk about my growing up. When I was a kid, we didn't see any white kids. We would see them on the street. My dad was a genius farmer, sharecropper, but he was able to. The guy he sharecropped with told him, said, "Yuri, you need to buy property." My dad didn't have money to buy property, so he invested in my dad and bought him 285 acres. My father had to pay him back, and it was like $10 an acre. 1940, that was a little bit of money, but it was a lot.
Yeah.
Especially when it was payback time. But Dad wanted that because we lived in a settlement or in a community, a village, 18 different families. We were the only people after we moved in that had transportation. So my mother became the taxi driver for everybody in the community. What my dad did with those 285 acres, he knew that we were not allowed to go to the libraries. We were not allowed to go to the parks. So he and the men in the community built us our own little ball diamond, okay, basketball
Nice.
court. We were happy.
Yeah.
We didn't know what was going on elsewhere, but in our little world, we were happy. And I wrote a song I remember as a kid, not as a kid, a few years ago, when I was a little bit of girl. The song goes like this: when I was a little bit of girl, I lived in a big old world. And now I'm a big girl and I live in a little world. So I just was thinking one day about growing up, and my world was small, but it was large in a sense because that village was my community. And we had wonderful caregivers and people that took care of all of us, and we shared food. We did everything we needed to do to come together as one. And as I said, I am just so excited about you all coming to team with the foundation.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. We were excited to find you because I had the idea to bring people to Rosewood from Dr. Dominic Dunn from FIU, because he used to bring groups up from Miami to
Yes.
learn about Rosewood, and I was like, that's a good idea. I should do that with local people here because it's our local history.
Exactly.
But I didn't know very much about Rosewood, and
Yes.
I didn't know anybody who specialized in Rosewood, so I was kind of like flailing around going, I need to have somebody to teach about it.
Right.
So I was really glad to have found
I'm glad you found me too, because as I tell people, my aunt was a Rosewood school teacher. She did live there. She is from Archer. She married a Rosewood citizen and
Okay.
relocated there, but she is from Archer. And when the massacre happened, she survived. She survived, but she was there from 1915. She was the teacher from 1915 to 1923. She married her husband in 1917, but before then she boarded with a family from they were from Levy County. Now they have relocated to Gainesville, and some of those people still live. So when I approached them before the young man died and told him about, my aunt boarded with y'all, and he was surprised. He didn't remember her, but his parents, he said, probably remembered her. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it has been a good research experience to catch up with what my mom told me. Okay, so that's about time for our first half. We are going to head to a quick break, and we'll be right back after a quick Rosewood word. My name is Lizzie Robinson Jenkins. I am the president and founder of the Real Rosewood Foundation, established 2003 in Archer, Florida. Years ago, in a little town called Rosewood, Florida, there was a massacre. Several people were killed, all because of guns, violence, disrespect. We cannot allow gun violence to take out our young kids. We're coming together. We're going to work together. And we are going to put guns on the run. GNV.
I am Black History.
I am Rosewood Black History.
I am Florida and America's Black History.
And you are too.
January 1st, 1923, the KKK insurrectionists attacked Rosewood, killing 5, burning it down.
Because a white woman lied and cried, a black man assaulted me. Rosewood redevelopment is on its way.
Want to help? Visit rosewoodflorida.com.
Welcome back to Queen Lizzie Podcast, recorded right here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Coach Spurrier's own podcast room. We are here with guest Kestral Ward. Welcome back, Kestral. And I'm going to remind my audience that if you want to help us move the John Wright House, which was donated to us, and it's going to become a museum. So in order to donate to the Rosewood Foundation and help Queen Lizzie's cause, please visit https://rosewoodflorida.com. Thank you very much. And my mother, as I said to you, was the Rosewood school teacher. So Mom encouraged me to be a speaker. My mother assigned me this Rosewood journey that I did not appreciate. In fact, I was angry because I knew it was going to be a lot of work and a long journey. She assigned it anyway because she said that was my sister. Her information need to be remembered. And if Mama was younger, Mama would do it. And I wanted to say to Mama, we'll do it. But you didn't say things of sort back there to adults. She was very passionate about what happened to her sister because her sister was gang raped. And I don't like to get into that history because I always lose my thought when I talk about what happened to her. But that's why my mother was so focused. She said people need to know that she suffered the agony of defeat for 25 years running from the conspirators that attacked her. And I just tell enough to keep people interested, and if they want to go and research it, they can. And another way you all can follow me is through an elegy for Rosewood. Just pull it up, Google it, an elegy for Rosewood, and it will tell you everything, a lot that you need to know. And what it is, it consists of Rosewood artifacts, heirlooms that my aunt collected when she was the teacher there. And before they burned her house down, the sheriff said, don't touch anything in this house, because they had burglarized all of the other houses. But when it came to her house, he said, don't touch anything in here. Everything in here belongs to me. So what he did, a couple of pillowcases, she had escaped, and a tub. And he put as much of her items in those pillowcases and a tub and brought to her. He knew where she lived. My mom would tell me all the time, the sheriff knows everybody in Levy County. And I figured that out. He really did, she would say. He worked 96 hours straight in an effort to keep the people alive. And as of yesterday, last night, I have a young person working, a young lady, my friend, working on a research for me, because on my father's side, I am a McIntyre. And she called me, and we've been reaching out, talking to each other this week. So yesterday she said, you know what, Miss Lizzie, your family, long before 1923, on the McIntyre side, knew and was closely related to, she believes, the Wrights, the Wilkerson, and the Walkers, all white families.
Oh, interesting.
Very interesting. I just sat there and cried. Very interesting. And she's digging deeper. I knew it was a connection. I knew it was something because my mom didn't know, but she assumed. She knew something. Because I asked my mother one day, I said, Mom, what does my great-great-grandfather do in Cedar Key? I found him there in 1848. She said, oh, he was a breeder. Yesterday, this lady, my friend, confirmed. She said, and Liz, yes, your great-great-grandfather was a breeder. Just like your mom told you. She said, I wish I could have met your mom. So the story it goes on. And as I say, she loved her sister. And she said, but you need to tell the story truthfully, research, authenticate, tell it truthfully, and never attack anyone. So I don't attack people because my mom would finish it off with, they did not create Rosewood, and you did not create Rosewood. Just tell the truth. Yeah. And that's what I try to do. So this is the song that she dictated to me that I must sing. And if I stop, we can talk about what is happening or what has happened. And she dictated this song January 25, 1995. And it says, Rosewood, Florida, borders Highway 24, a destroyed habitat, no blacks live there anymore, where emptiness resides in the silent sacred breeze. Life there no more, only nature's moss-hung trees. Rosewood, Florida once was a growing community, linked with chains of love and family unity. Families were linked with wholesome friendship, and each link represented a special kinship. In this productive southern town of Rosewood, here the families bonded and they understood each other's lives in their unique neighborhood. Lordy, 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 Rosewood used to be real good until a little old sleazy woman with a cheating heart triggered the Rosewood massacre and the colored had to depart. They ran for their lives in the middle of the night. They'd heard a mob was a-coming to start a hideous fight. And I'm going to pause right there. And the reason the mob was coming because the word had gotten out that a Sumner housewife had been attacked. In fact, the paper said had been assaulted by a black man. And the black man they were talking about or had in mind was my aunt's husband, the school teacher's husband. So it hit home really close. And would you like to ask any from the song that the verses I just sang? Did anything come to your mind you need to know more about?
Oh no, I think it's interesting because in the little bits that I've read about it, the things just say that it was a black man who was a drifter, and I never
Jesse Hunter.
I never understood how that tied back to Rosewood, but if it was your uncle, that makes more sense why they would turn to Rosewood. And also makes me kind of wonder about the places that aren't identifying him as a resident of Rosewood. They're just sort of saying a random black man.
Exactly. But he was a resident there. She was having an affair with a white man that knew my uncle, knew he lived in Rosewood, okay, knew he was a member of the Masonic. So the guy, her lover, was also a Mason too. So by him knowing Rosewood and by him getting caught in the house, well, no, he was not caught there. But when he wanted to call off the relationship, a fight ensued, I understand, and she was left bruised. And you know, back then, anytime a white woman was caught in a catch-22 situation, the easiest way out was to say a black man did it.
Yeah.
And that's what she said. And by her lover knowing my uncle lived in Rosewood, because he was not from Rosewood or Sumner, he was really from Gulfhammock.
Oh, okay.
He worked at the sawmill with James Taylor, Fannie Taylor's husband, and he reported to work at 6 a.m. However, James Taylor was the foreman or the supervisor. He reported to work at 4 a.m. to oil the machines. And that gave the young man that carpooled in with his friend that reported to work at 4 a.m. with James. He didn't have anything to do between 4 and 6 p.m. 4 and 6 a.m. So he took up time with Fannie Taylor and spent his 2 hours with Fannie Taylor. And each morning, James Taylor, her husband, reported home for breakfast. And on this particular morning, she was totally crying and lying when he walked in because she had to explain the bruises. And he said, well, what happened? What happened? Well, I was attacked by, you know what she said, she didn't say a black man.
Yeah.
And my mother also wrote a poem about that, A.N. did it. Okay, my mother was something else, 8th grade education, okay, and could only go to school for 4 months. But she was a genius. Oh my God, she was a genius. She was a genius. And that's why I'm telling her story, because you must tell my story. Mom, I don't want to. And I heard the story at age 5, 1943. My sister wasn't interested. At 11, my 2 brothers didn't want to hear it. So it became my story and her story. But other things she told me that happened that is in the story, she said, I told you about the kids ran, and when they were running, my aunt was really the overseer. She was like the person who sheltered them from Rosewood to the train station where they boarded the train. But it says, run, 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 run on for your life, oh Lord, hide anywhere, just try to survive. Children followed their leaders with fear in their souls and almost froze to death because it was so cold. They were told not to move by the ones in charge. But trying to keep silent was awfully hard. Messages were sent to them by Sheriff Bob Walker. Listen out for John Wright, the designated talker. Those were the 2 of the men I just told you that my family knew so much about, the Walkers and the store merchant. They made sure that these people, these Rosewood descendants, would get on that train. And then the next verse said, the Cedar Key train conductors were told to pick up in Rosewood. Standing by the tracks with the lantern, its young school teacher stood, waiting in desperation to carry out the sheriff's plan, rounding up the hidden survivors to board the midnight train. The sheriff and the store owner worked around the clock, informed the train conductors just when and where to stop, pick up the men, women, and children who were hiding out. and bring them to Archer, Florida, traveling the same old route. And I'm not going to have time to finish the song, but I just wanted to give you a sample of my mom's thinking in putting that song together to tell the story. So once you hear the song, it's the entirety of what really happened, but I will sing it to your class or your group.
I'm excited to hear the rest of the song.
Okay.
Your mother does sound like a fascinating lady, and
She
I would
was.
love to have met her.
Yes. Oh, she was something else. Very, very intelligent. Yes. And because of her, you're sitting here today talking to me.
Yes, yes I am.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, no, I would love to have you sing the song and reading your book and anything else that you can tell us about Rosewood, because
I will.
Our purpose is to teach truth. That's our hashtag. Tag is Teach Truth Day of Action.
Perfect.
And nationwide, people are going out and taking classes and groups and community members to learn the true history of the nation.
Perfect. And you're welcome to bring your recorders so that you can record and share.
Oh yes, we definitely are going to record the entire thing.
Perfect.
And share it. It'll be shared on our social media, but it'll also be shared by the Zine Ed Project.
Oh, really? Perfect.
Who are kind of the nationwide organizers of the day.
He has permission to dissect it. Just tell the truth.
Yes.
Okay? Don't add anything, the houses and all that. Yes, that is perfect. I'm looking forward to seeing you all on the 10th.
I'm super excited for
All
the
right. Okay. All right. I am continuously humble, honored, and blessed to meet people daily and invite them to join in peace building, healing, and reconciliation through learning about the history of Rosewood. That will wrap up today's episode. Thanks to thanks to Miss Kestral Ward. I am Queen Lizzie. Until next time, goodbye.